So, Guy, I throw out the Police. I throw out Joe Jackson. I throw out the
Sure.
Cars. I throw out, maybe a Graham Parker, maybe an Elvis Costello. Where am I going with this?
I don't know. I will tell you the Joe Jackson Look Sharp album, I think it came out like the summer of 77, if I'm not mistaken. Is She Really Going Out with Him? And just I think that was his debut album. So I think you're going with great debut albums that came out within the last 50 years or something.
You're real close, man. I'm just going to go with, first of all, you nailed it on Joe Jackson. The musicianship in that band, if people don't know the quality under, it's not just that, those weren't just kind of neo punk, new wave pop songs. Listen to that stuff over and over again. But right, it's 40 years ago that we had the release of the Pretenders' first album.
Come on,
in Jana, 1980, dude. And you were, again, you and your Croton hoods, your Harmon hoods, you guys were just getting through like some Anthrax and some Black Sabbath, and you suddenly had some new kind of era way to channel your anger, and yet you had someone as lovely as Chrissie Hynde to kind of to tone it down a little bit.
No doubt. So January of 1980, I'm probably a sophomore in high school, and I don't know what Anthrax is.
Did you say sophomore? Did you say sophomore?
Yes, sophomore. If you spell it out, if you say it phonetically,
please. Are you doing that
to sophomore?
You're doing that to mess with me.
I am. And I'm
sophomore.
And tomorrow I'll say that it's Wednesday, just to piss you off a little bit more.
Right.
No, but I think I was a sophomore, and I remember when the album came out, and I don't know if this song was on it, but what I will tell you, in the middle of the road, you see the darndest things like fat guys driving in Jeeps through the city or something like that, which is a tremendous lyric from Chrissie Hynde.
With diamond roots and silk suits. Yeah. Anyway, that wrong album.
I didn't know. I guess I can't.
That was Learning to Crawl.
Okay.
That was Learning to Crawl, and I'm going to throw an 83 on that, maybe an 84. That's a great album, and that, off that album, I think you had that song 2,000 Miles, which turned into a Christmas song, even though it's not really a Christmas song. But she mentions, it's kind of like Die Hard. She mentions Christmas time on the song, and it sounds lovely, so it's turned into a Christmas song in the same way Die Hard. But we've already done that. So, all right. So Mystery Achievement, I believe, was the big song off of that album. And look where we are. There's talk today that Janet Yellen is going to possibly even go after unrealized cap gains. And again, Janet Yellen, who has thrown so much money at the problem. You've got a number of different policy initiatives that apparently the Biden administration are going to go after very hard in the first 15 days. I saw, in fact, it was 10 days, according to a journal article. This is a market that's not back on the chain gang. I'd say this is a market that really stop your sobbing, Guy, because it doesn't want to go lower. We know that there are risks to what this blue wave could mean. No political statement here, just purely in terms of policy initiatives. And yet we're at 3,800 today on the Dow. S&P. We don't like the Dow.
No, you're dropping Pretenders lyrics it's fantastic.
Like it's my job.
Like it's your job. And I'll say, to answer your question, why is the market here? I have no idea. Clearly, the market doesn't care about anything you just said. All it cares about is the fact that stimulus checks are coming. Janet Yellen basically said we need to do more sooner, I'm paraphrasing. And I think the market's just addicted to this thought that stimulus is on its way. Maybe we'll pass the torch from monetary to fiscal, which again, I'm not certain we will. I think maybe both torches are going to be carried in this Biden administration. And the market seems to love it. Forget the fact that right now the forward multiple for the S&P 500 is probably north of 23, which is rarefied air. And that market cap of the S&P 500 is about 190% of
crazy.
U.S. GDP, which is just crazy. The Citibank panic euphoria index is at levels we haven't seen maybe ever. Market doesn't care. And we have a VIX at 21.5, 22. And we have stocks continue to go off the races. And an S&P, as of this taping, within 26 points, I think, of its all. So within basically 0.75% of its all-time high.
And if you try to challenge this market, like so many, look, there's a lot of very, very smart long short hedge fund managers, some of the biggest in the world, and some of the smartest guys on the street have tried in vain. By the way, train in vain off of the clashes really their third album, but the one that most people knew over here, the self-titled Clash album. Unnamed song, by the way, it's not on there. And so anyway, Train in Vain. I've tried in vain to short this market, and in fact, as Chrissy Hynde says on one of these Pretenders album, bad boys get spanked. Now, I don't know what she meant by that, but I think there are probably a few people that might have lined up for that. But you have been spanked heartily if you've tried to bring fundamentals to the market here. And I again, it will matter at some point, but the liquidity dynamics out there on the eve of when we're getting more stimulus. And then over the weekend, we got better China numbers. Look at what emerging markets are doing, and look at this reacceleration, even off of, again, a major low, but global markets. And I think it's a case where, yeah, you got more than a little brass in pocket, Guy Adami.
Wow. I just stand in awe of your ability just to continue to drop Pretender stuff. It's fantastic. Not only that, I think Chrissy Hynde would be impressed, but I don't think she could do what you just did. But what
does brass in pocket mean? I mean, if you've got brass in pocket, come fuzzled, I'm gonna lose. I mean, what is it? What was she doing?
Well,
I mean,
I think, I hearken back to a time when some of the tough guys used to have brass knuckles, so maybe that's what she was speaking of. I don't know.
Brass knuckles.
Some of the enforcers. I mean, back in my days in Croton on the Hudson, we used to buy those things at Epstein's. That was the place we used to go. Yeah.
Epstein's?
Not
Juan
Epstein,
Epstein.
Not Juan Epstein from Horseshack. No.
Yeah, Horseshack.
Epstein's like the little department store. That's the type of town we were. So we'd go buy a pack of gum and a thing of brass knuckles.
Hold on, you guys were selling brass knuckles in your apartment store?
No. I was not selling them. Epstein's had them sort of. You had to know who to ask. Let's put it that way. They weren't put out publicly in display. You had to sort of know who to ask.
Did you ever go to Times Square to buy a switchblade growing up?
No, we didn't know. No, because switchblades, I mean, that's not cool. Brass knuckles is one thing, but switchblades, that's a whole new level. That's like, your movie, the whatchamacallit movie.
The Outsiders.
Not The Outsiders.
No,
the guys on the subway.
Dude, you took me down. You took me down by the fountain in The Outsiders with a switchblade, wasn't it?
If we were to be cast in The Outsiders, I will tell you flat out. We had this conversation.
We're not.
But for you new viewers, I will tell you, I would absolutely have been a greaser, and Tim absolutely would have been hanging with Leif Garrett as a Soch.
Well, it means I get the girl in the end. So for that matter, Guy, I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you later.